Hello, my dear friends. This is Rabbi Aharon Dobinsky coming to you today from the holy city of Yerushalayim in the beautiful state of Israel. Pick a side. We all need to pick a side. If we look at the world the way it is, we've noticed one thing in particular, if not a lot more, that there's always two sides to everything. You've heard the expression, two sides to every coin. Well, that's how the world is created. For everything that's good, there must be something that's evil. For all the things that happen in one way, there's things that happen in another way. There must be balance in the universe. There must be balance. And I've had some people tell me in the last few weeks that it's really hard to do what I say to do. It's really hard to get close to Hashem. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort. I don't have the background. The excuses go on, and I call them excuses because that's what they are. Because the fact is, you can do anything you want to do. The choice is always up to us. We can make the choice to be closer to Hashem or farther away from Hashem. That's our choice. We always have this choice. We were given free will. That means we have the choice as to how we live our lives. So, when we say we have the choice, that means exactly that. It's not a matter of we have to do it one way, we have to do it the other way. We have the choice. Hashem points the way and says, go this way. And if we're smart, we listen to what he says and we go his way. Because that's the right way that will get us the kind of life that we want. Is it harder? Oh yeah, sometimes it is. Is it uncomfortable? Oh yeah, sometimes it is. But it's the way that will eventually lead us to a better way of living. We've talked about this before, and the fact is when you buy a car, or a washing machine, or a refrigerator, I don't care what you buy that runs and does something, it usually has a manual of instructions with it. Take your car, for example. You could put all the oil you want into the gas tank, and that car isn't going anywhere. Why? Because you didn't read the manual instructions. The gas tank is for gas. Oil goes into the crankcase. And the other fluids that they have, which are many sometimes, go into where they go into. They all have a specific purpose. They all have a specific way of doing things. Well, Torah is basically our manual of instructions. It's our owner's manual for this body we live in and the soul that resides inside the body. Remember, the body is only the outside. The body is like the coat that you put on when you're cold. It covers what's inside, which is the soul. That's the important part. Why is it the important part? It's the important part because it's the part that goes on and on and on. Long after this body has faded away, the soul continues and it goes on and on. Now, this is getting into reincarnation, which we're not going to get into today. If you'd like me to get into it more, let me know. We can certainly do that. But at this point, it's just important that you know that's how it works. Why does it work that way? I can't tell you why it works that way. It works that way because that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it work. It was his choice to do that. I can tell you that again, like I tell people when they say, why did Hashem do this? Why did he do that? I can give you my opinion, and my opinion is he wants to give you every chance in the world. He wants to give me every chance in the world. He wants to give all his children every chance in the world to do things the right way. What's the right way? His way. I have this saying all the time, and you may have heard it before, that there are some people in the world, and for them there's only two ways of doing things. There's their way, and there's the wrong way. Well, when it comes to Torah, it is that way. It's either Hashem's way or the wrong way. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do it the wrong way. You can do it the wrong way. You can say, heck with it. I don't want to. Saturday's a great day to go fishing. I want to go fishing. I want to play golf. I want to go boating. I want. Already you've made a mistake. It's not about what you want. It's about what you're here for and how you accomplish that. And Hashem helps us to accomplish that. He gives us the choice. We can do it his way, or we can do it the wrong way. I guarantee you, since he's the one who made us, he's the one who made these bodies that our soul lives in. Our soul is us. The body is just something we wear, but the soul is truly us. And since he made it, who's better equipped to tell us the best way to make it work? He is. So, a lot of people have been asking me lately, why don't I ever do any Kabbalah in my classes? And the fact of the matter is, Kabbalah is difficult. It's very difficult. There's nothing wrong with reading the Zohar every day. Reading it is fine. It'll drive you crazy if you try to understand it without the proper background. What's the proper background? Well, you'd have to have a very strong background in Torah, a very strong background in Gemara, Mishnah. You have a very strong background in all of the books that you can learn Torah from before you even pick up Zohar and start to learn. Because if you ever pick it up and start to read it, you'll find out that what I'm saying is true. It says things and you get done in reading a paragraph and you'll go, what? What? But what I'm going to show you today is a lot more understandable for you. It speaks in a little bit of circles, but not too much. But I want you to listen to this. It says, there are two forces, as our sages said on the verse. This, by the way, is from Likutei Moran. Likutei Moran is the magnum opus of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, those of you who have heard of him. And it's almost exclusively Zohar. There are two forces, as our sages said on the verse. This is the Torah that Moshe placed. If one merits the Torah, it is one's potion of life. If one does not merit, it is one's potion of death. A potion of life is shining faces, and a potion of death is dark faces, as written. God sat me in the darkness along like the long dead. The non-Jews draw their sustenance from the dark faces. So all non-Jews, and I don't mean non-Jews, I mean, when I say this, I mean all the people who reject Torah, have all the negative character traits. That's why you need the background, because you need to know what it really says. Though each and every nation is attached to one specific trait more than to the other traits. This is the meaning of, he appeared from Mount Paran. God wanted to give the Torah to all mankind, but upon hearing that Torah forbids the specific trait to which it was attached, no nation was willing to accept it. And anyone who possesses negative character traits is under the influence of the nations that's attached and bound to those negative traits. This is, whoever casts off the yoke of Torah, listen very carefully, whoever casts off the yoke of Torah, the yoke of government, and the yoke of the way of the world is placed upon him. Physical bondage corresponds to the yoke of government, and the way of the world is the negative character traits of the non-Jews corresponds to the yoke of the way of the world. And again, when I say non-Jews, I'm talking about any people who do not accept Torah for what it is. Okay? And this basically, if you look around what's going on in the world right now, you'll find this is not too far from where we are at this point. Since one is cast off the yoke of Torah, which corresponds to the 70 shining faces, the 70 dark faces, which is physical bondage to and the character traits of the other nations, overwhelm him, which correspond to the yoke of government and the yoke of the way of the world. So there you have it. We have a choice, and it's a clear choice. And we have to decide which way we're going to go. Again, we have free will. We want free will. I say all the time, people ask me questions, Rabbi, why did this happen? Rabbi, why did God do this? Rabbi, why does God do that? And the answer I always give, which is, I think is kind of funny, but it's really true, is I didn't get the memo. I don't know. I really don't know. I can give you my feelings on why, and they may be close and they may be far afield, but I can give you an idea based on what I do know. But the answer is, we don't know for sure. And that's good. And I've always said to myself, maybe wouldn't it be great if I did know? And I immediately took that back. There are things you don't want to know, that I don't want to know, we don't want to know. We want to live our lives in peace and joy and happiness, joy, love, and fulfillment. That's what I always talk about. That's what we want to live our lives with. Torah gives us the guide to do it. It gives us the guide to look at what we did, like I said last week at Hanan. Moshe was blaming the people. It wasn't the people's fault. It was his own fault. And eventually I think he figured that out. But the fact is, we have in our own lifetimes the ability to decide, what are we going to do? Do you want the shiny faces? Do we want the dark faces? We want a life of joy and love and fulfillment? Or do we want a life of poverty, of torture, of misery? not fulfilling what we want, which makes us unhappy people. And we don't want to be unhappy people. We've been given the guide. Torah is the guide. The more we learn, the more we do, the happier we'll be. It doesn't always seem like that in the beginning, my friends, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of time. But what you will find is the more you put in that effort and time and work, the happier you're going to be, which will lead you to a life of love, joy, and fulfillment. And yes, will bring you to your own personal redemption, which will bring about the final redemption, the building of the third Beit HaMikdash, the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu Bimheirav Yomeinu, speedily in our days. My friends, have a great week ahead, a great weekend. If it's still Shabbos when you get this, a great Shabbos. And we'll talk next week. I love you all. You take care of yourselves. God bless.